Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading session. Hang on here a moment while I get you my screen. The market's just opened, and it looks like they're in a little bit of a decline. So yesterday the market was, this is the NASDAQ, of course, that we're talking about. So the NASDAQ a little waffly during the early parts of the morning session, and then they hit a strong rally until the afternoon, where everything started to unwind again. And then here we are through the European session, and they're trying to put in a little bit of a rally now to cover what's going to look like an opening gap. So the market left off up here somewhere around 46.35, 46.37. We'll see whether that gap beckons the market higher. So far it looks like we've got something like this going on, a little bit of a sideways channel. The market's fudging the lines just enough to make it difficult to draw this. See, if I draw it like this and like this, it doesn't make much sense. So we'll just let our eye kind of tell us where it's at. Okay, getting a hard edge bounce here on the Eagle. We're still against the ATR. It's still very early. Getting a trend change signal here in the Falcon of all things. I wonder, are they really going to try to press higher? This is not the type of trade that I would want to risk a whole lot on. So if you're going to try it, it's important to risk it below the swing low if at all possible, because we are in a downtrend here. This is very, very much a counter trend type trade. See, the market could do one of these, where it just does a little hiccup up and then heads lower. Okay, the trade didn't engage, thank goodness, but if a trade like this engages, I always get people writing me saying, Eric, why didn't that signal work out? Well, because you didn't take the signal in the bigger context. The bigger context was that the market is in a very big downtrend. You should be suspicious of buy signals, at least until we take out a swing high or something. So let's see, did we get we got our Eagle signal here. I'm a little bit late on it. Let's see if I can still, if there's a little bit of a retracement here so I can try to catch that. Come on, get up there a little ways. Okay, now the only reason I did it that way is to simulate where our order would be. So you can see the signal bar actually flipped the ATR over, and now we're in sync with the trade. So looking for the sellers to perhaps retest the lows from the overnight and hopefully even put in new lows for today. Okay, so far so good. Just about to tag our break-even trigger. We'll see how this works. The break-even's a little bit cozy here, but I'm going to let it ride. Okay, so we're back at break even. We're seeing a little bit of a reaction now to the lows. I'm hoping the market's not going to peel back too far. The gold market just went crazy to the upside. Huge, huge move there. Well, it's still unwinding here. We'll bring the Falcon over so you can see gold. And this was actually a tradable signal. You can see that the gold market opened way back here. Actually, gold really active this morning. Gold is one of those markets that you can literally trade 24 hours a day. It's popular in wherever you are in the world. So gold opened over here. We got a trend change signal lower. Got another trend change signal here. The market fell off huge. Then we got a trend change signal here. North American Open, we got a trend line touch, and boom! There she goes. Now, all of this unwound rather quickly, but not so fast that you could not get an order in here. And now it came back with a trend change signal to the downside. So I'm not sure what sparked the gold market like that, but these are huge, huge moves in gold. All right, looks like we got tagged at break even here. And we'll see in a moment whether that was a good thing or whether we should have left our stops. I think initial stops were up here, 46, yeah, 46.25 quarter. All right, we're getting some conflicting signals now. And this is often typical when a market may be about to change direction. The hawk now back into yellow bars. The Raptor here with a hard edge bounce. So darn, I'm a little bit late on this. This is a double pullback. It's worth trying for the sake of the test of the extreme. I would probably be relatively quick with my stops. Certainly be watching the Geiger counter here closely. All right, so we've had our test of the extreme. We'll see now whether they come back here with a soft edge buy. No, there they go. They're still hitting that. They're going to. All right, we're going to simulate the order here off of this hash mark. They retreated enough for me to try to get in there. And I better get a stop going here. And give me one more bar lower, and I'm going to start rolling those stops in pretty aggressively. Come on, let's go. Come on, give me that break even. so we got the break even. Jim giving me some advanced decline numbers here, but the advanced decline very lopsided because of the big gap. So there's only 450 on the buy and 2200 on the sell. We're retesting the lows now. Oh, come on. No, hit a break even again. It's starting to look like a great big sideways channel, isn't it? Where we've got obvious support down here and resistance somewhere up there. So if I were still in the Eagle trade and I were the patient sort, I'd have my stops up here. And here they come again. So we'll try it yet again on the Raptor. And we've got a comparable signal there on the Falcon. Let's bring the Geiger counter over here so we can see. So you see we continued to, oh, they're going to stop me here again. Come on, sellers, where are you? Come on. Come on. You know, they came up a couple ticks short of my profit target on this swing. They're a couple ticks short of my profit target on this swing. It's starting to get annoying. Ah. All right, you're going to be like that. We're going to tighten that first target. So if I were still in the Eagle trade, and now that we've broken through the lows, I probably would start to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop. I think our entry was right about here. You know, this is a minimal risk position, but we've had, you know, all these attempts at the lows, the market really not making any progress to the short side. I'm really starting to think that gap is calling the market in a big way. And you see, the hawk is slowing. We're getting lots of sideways action here, as evidenced by these yellow bars. Getting another green bar sell. Oh, the Raptor just came back with a soft edge buy. Let's see if we get a test of the extreme here. Now that we're into the hard edge on the Eagle, we hopefully see a little bit of a reaction here somewhere. All right, we have the makings of a first micro-macro cross signal. Problem with this one, got to cover it way down here. It's now turning into a little bit more of a macro pullback style. And because this is only a onesie, I'll probably let it try to run out. Oops, I guess I better engage my stop. There we go. So I knew something didn't look right there. Just making a couple notes here in my journal. The advanced decline gaining a little bit on the buy side, Jim says. We got 570 on the buy and just under 2,200 on the sell, so still pretty lopsided. We're seeing a little bit of a poke here now. Where's my support and resistance lines? So my next line up here at 46.26. That seems like a probable target. Here's our trend change signal in the Falcon. And after that, the median line, 46.36. That would definitely cover this morning's gap if we got up to the primary support. No, they're waffling a bit, but at least it wasn't a loss. lost my Geiger counter. There it is. Yeah, the NQ established quite the range for itself this morning. You'll see we're right back at the top end of this trading range now. So there's the opening high, there's the low. So the market opened right up here, boom, down, and now we're kind of stuck. Scalp mode for another 20 minutes or so, then we're into trend mode, according to the trade forecaster. The Geiger counter, it's waffling a little bit. I was going to say the buyers are getting a little bit stronger. Getting a late filter entry signal here, or the makings of a late filter entry on the Falcon. Here, let's set up, get ready for that one. So the late filter entry signal occurs when the trend line does not go out of sync, but the filter does go out of sync, but very important, it has to come back into sync. And of course, this is the problem when you get stuck trading within a range-bound market, is that it's very likely just going to keep testing the top end and bottom end of the range. So this is very much a risky trade. I guess they're all risky, aren't they? If we can, the best place to enter here would have been above this swing high, but logistically that would have offered up, at least half of our profit objective. All right, so the buyers showing their presence. I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop now. So I want my stop below the swing low for starters. All right, might as well just go straight to the bar high-low. The idea is if the sellers fail or if the buyers fail at this point, if the sellers knock them down yet again, I may as well take my medicine. And if the buyers do have control, then they should try to press these highs right here. Come on. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Here, we'll give you a little nudge. Get up there. Let's see what's going on with the Geiger counter. No, the sellers are full over here. Well, it's even, well, I was going to say it's pretty evenly balanced. I would say the sellers still have the nod, so I think we're going to get stopped here in a second. Unless the buyers move that wheel over. Oh, there they go. Get that wheel hard over to the buy side and keep it there. Oh, this is a big bar, folks. Very important bar. Tons of volume going through on this bar. Come on, get up there. No, the seller's just chewing through those orders. Come on, buyers. Come on, bulls. Where are you? There they go. Come on. Chew through those orders. Stay over there now. No! Other way! Get up there. Jim says the bank index a little bit weak. Yeah, just look at the width of this bar. Loads and loads of volume. Market's really, really liking this whole 46.20-ish area. No, they're going to stop me here in a sec. All right. Well, you know, the late filter entry, it's a very reliable signal. I may have been a little quick with my stop, but the way the market is today, see here they come again with the trend change signal, and on the Raptor here, we're going to produce a buy signal here in a second. Oh, no, we're not. Oh, yeah, there we are. So we're at the top end of the range now with the Raptor. I'm afraid to blink. Oops. Oh well. I tried to adjust my trade there a little bit. So here we are at the top of the hour now. And usually I don't try to buy at the top of the hour. All right, so let's get a order going here. I actually want it below this swing right here, so I'm going to hold that for the moment. see if we don't get a reaction now to the hard edge, or if the market's going to stay So let's shoot a trend line here. Be nice to see a little recommitment on the part of the buyers at this point. Now remember, when you're trading a market that's in a channel type formation like this, where we're obviously stuck in the sideways range, the best course of action, the safest course of action, is always to let it break, retest, and then look for your buying opportunity. Now, we fudged the top end of the trading range here a little bit. I'm not sure if I would consider that a breakout. Normally the breakout is a little bit more pronounced. But the cloud is starting to cross somewhat. Even though I did take that trade a little bit early, there's not usually too much of a rush to try to get into these trades. Every once in a while the market takes off without you, but more often than not, it will give you another chance to get in. Okay, so the Hawk now producing a red bar buy, the Falcon a little bit more sideways, the Raptor giving us a little bit of heat off the top end of that trading range. Okay, the buyers were trying to get a little active there. Oh, come on. Every time that wheel swings over to the buy side, it swings back to the sell side. Yeah, 46.20, just a huge, huge price. That's right around the open. Ray Burke always had a phobia around trading around the open. I think it's because it's the open price. There always tends to be a lot of volume associated with it. Another very important bar here, a big tug of war going on this bar, as you can see. The buyer's just not able to muster any follow through. Ditto for the sellers. The sellers haven't been able to press the market, or not yet anyway. Crude oil also put in a nice rally this morning, and I'm watching gold take off again. It might be time to put gold on the forefront. So crude oil opens right about here. The market already took a trend line touch signal here on the Falcon, fell off somewhat. Trend change signal by the time the stock market opened. Nice little run up there, hit our secondary resistance line. Now it's taking a bounce and going back the other way. It looks like it may come down here, trying to retest this whole 41.85 area before perhaps heading a little higher. Crude inventory at 11 a.m. today. Jim says the DAX is building a big bottom. We'll see whether or not that adds to the support here on the NQ. I do believe that overall, if you look at a daily chart, I do believe that overall the NQ is poised to head lower. However, intraday, I can't help but think that gap just above here keeps beckoning the market. It's encouraging to see these tails on these bars. Let's get the Geiger counter over here so we can... That's it. Oh, come on, buyers. Keep chewing through those orders. Give me that little burst. All right, so let's see where parabolics are at. We'll go with parabolics. Look, the sellers pouring it on as we get back to the highs. And there's the buyers. Oh, come on, buyers, hold it over there. Come on. If we take out this 46.22 half area, I'm convinced we're going to see a move to the prime, well, at least to the secondary resistance line, which was 46.26, I believe, and more likely the primary support at 46.35, 36, wherever it was. All right, big struggle now. Back into the highs. Oh, the buyers are chewing through the orders, or trying to. Get up there. Come on, somebody. There we go. There's was 22 half. There's 23. Okay, we're making some progress now. All right, so we hit our first profit target. And our stops are at break even. And now we'll see whether or not we can't get them up to that 46.36 area that we were watching. And that once again is, so we're into the secondary support. And then 46.35, 36 is our primary. And that would very much fill that opening gap. So the late filter entry signal was actually going to play out. I just was a little bit too quick with my stop. The late filter entry signal came way back here. I had my stop a touch too tight. It would have required a lot of patience this morning not to get too anxious with your stops. We'll see whether parabolics are able to hold us in on this. Yeah, like Jim says, I made the comment about having to be patient with your stops and how difficult that would be, especially if you're long, Jim says. You're absolutely right. Okay, getting a little bit of traction. Oh, they're going to tag me here in a sec. 46.23 Yeah, I think Tony's referring here to crude oil, about how crude is trading around 45. Well, actually, we're trading well below 45. We're trading at around $42 a barrel. Yeah. Whereas it used to be characteristic to see crude trade between 85 and 105. Now it looks like if we're pushing $50 or $60 a barrel, that's huge for crude. Okay, so just so I can make a note here in my journal, 46.23. And I'll double check that on the order. Well, not a home run trade, but beats a kick in the head with a frozen boot, right? All right, this is more the breakout that I would be expecting, the breakout and the retest. So we have our trading range established. Market breaking out, coming back to retest the resistance area, which should now be support. If that's going to hold, we're going to come out here, we're going to produce another buy signal. Oh, get a load of this. Trend mode in for 120 minutes. So for the next 2 hours, trade forecasters suggesting we are going to be in trend mode. But we don't know if it's up or down. Macro pullback signal here. Sorry, I missed that one. So that's a pretty decent looking macro pullback. I would probably still risk it below the swing point here. And that one worked out okay. Yeah, I don't know how much the buyers have left in them, Jim. Jim says the buyers better get going or this is going to get ugly. Oh, no, they're pressing, or at least on the NQ here. They might get 46.35 yet. Boy, I'm just looking at the gold market here. I may have to start bringing gold up here more often. Look at these moves. Macro pullback. Let's just see, just for first micro macro cross, macro pullback, yellow bars, which kept us out of a bad signal. I'm just curious. So this macro pullback, and let's say we got stopped on the reversal there. That's a decent little move. Very nice little move. And another first micro macro cross lower. I will tell you this one would have given me the willies a little bit, producing a signal that late, but it did follow through. Green bar sell. Didn't notice that one before. Green bar sell at the top of the hour, that had exceptional follow through. And of course, when you're getting a green bar sell like this one's not so hard to take because we don't have a test of the lows yet, right? So at the very least, you would expect the market to retest these lows. Even if you just did the scalp, that's still 200 bucks in your jeans or $100 per contract. And then here's the first micro macro cross. And like I said, that one would have given me the willies a bit. I probably would have tried to, no, that's too far. Probably would have tried to cover it at least back to the macro line, but it wouldn't have been a problem because the market still tailed off and gave you another $100. So gold very, very active this morning. Okay, the NQ starting to press this 4630 area. Oops, I've lost my Geiger counter again. So here was a little spike in the buying. Looks like, well, the buyers did have control there for a moment, but maybe that's a blow-off. A bull trap. It's unfortunate that our earlier signals I wasn't able to capitalize on. Well, I did capitalize on it, but they ended up in a break-even situation. I may start to run a slightly tighter profit target for the Raptor. Okay, another macro pullback here in the Hawk. That is a sign of weakness. Or potentially a sign of weakness. I see the Falcon here building a late filter entry signal. So on our eagle, we did get that retest. It looks, well, this looks similar to a retest here. And then we come back with a buy signal, but so far, not very much follow through. Again, you know, you need to consider the larger picture, the overall context. So the market, you know, if you simply focus on these last few bars, the market looks bullish. But if you take into consideration the bigger picture, this begins to look a little bit more like maybe a bear flag. So while it is a genuine signal, you may want to consider rolling the risk down a little bit just in case, or perhaps running a very deep stop. Try to give yourself a lot of staying power. Remember, your risk amount does not change, right? Your risk amount, you control your risk by this number here, not where you place your stop. And they're all over the map now. So a red bar buy here in the hawk. Two macro pullback signals. Oh, the red bar buy has now disappeared, and looks like we're going to start working on a first micro macro cross lower. We don't have the signal yet. I know the signal printed, but our trend lines are still out of sync. So don't be getting too anxious to short here. The Raptor does not have a soft edge sell. We don't have a test of the extreme. Although I do believe we are due for a little bit of a retest of the lows. You can see we're at the top end of the trading range. Will the buyers find some support there? Will the sellers take over? Well, we're just kind of waffling here a little bit, folks. Excuse me. Okay, we're into the hard edge. Oh, they are tailing off here somewhat. So we should see a reaction here, get a first micro-macro cross if in fact the market is going to head lower. Same thing here with the Falcon. The Falcon actually unwound a little bit too quickly. We had the down, we had the up, we had the down, but then this kind of went boom, 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 a little bit too fast. We should have, normally we would have produced a signal through here. All right, here comes the first micro-macro cross signal way down here. These always give me chills. Okay, here's the problem, of course, with this first micro-macro cross. We're down at this swing low. Look at the reaction that the market got last time it encountered this price around the 46.14, 46.13 area. So, you know, how do you take that? Can I cover up there? Oh, I can. Can I cover above the swing high? I'm curious. Nope. That's a little bit out of reach. So is it a first micro-macro cross? Definitely. Is it a high probability trade? You bet. But is there a whole lot of structure here to base the trade on? No, not really. So I'm going to show it to you. However, you know, I'd be cautious. If this one bolts, That's going to be more a fluke, I think, than anything. Oh, see? Now it's going to make a liar out of me and just fall off and keep falling. Gold making a huge retracement, almost recovering to where it began the day. Let's get gold over here for a sec. Get a load of this. So gold making that huge run up earlier, and we did get opportunities on the across the board on our tools. And look at where we're at now. We're practically back to where we began. Amazing. So whatever sparked the gold market was not enough to sustain it. All right, so now you can see here's the problem. Trying to ride this swing out. It would be easier sometimes if you suspect that you're going to get a macro pullback just to wait for that macro pullback. All right, so now you get a macro pullback signal. I know it's really taking its time unwinding here, isn't it? So if you didn't get a chance to take it before, you could take the macro pullback. This does have a little bit more structure to it. The earlier entry also gives you a better chance at perhaps getting a profit here. These lows, of course, are going to be huge. Just taking a look what's going on in the rest of the market here. Okay, so it's probably a good spot now that the sellers have recommitted to start doing something with my stops. Try to take some of that initial risk out. And I'm going to go with the bar high low. Actually, where are the parabolics at? Oops. Let's do parabolics. The bar high low would save us a couple of dollars, but if the market swings here, which it appears to be doing, we'll see if the parabolics can't hold us in. And I'm just going to leave it a tick above that little swing high. No, we're going to get tagged here in a moment. I was watching the Geiger counter, and the Geiger counter was hard over here on the buy side, which made me think that we were going to see the buyers press. All right, now we're getting a red bar buy. Wow, just a regular mixed bag of signals here today. No follow through one way or the other. Every signal is a crapshoot. So red bar buy, it's in sync. You're going to want to risk it low. And it looks like we're going to try to test these highs. So the march back to 46.36. Come on, get up there. Oh, come on, buyers. Just give me one more bar here. Jeepers, you guys. Let's watch the Geiger counter here for a moment. There we go. There's some buying. Oh, there's some selling. There, come on, buyers. Start chewing through those orders. Oh my goodness, the seller's not giving them an inch. Gotta fight for everything here. There we go. That's hard over on the buy side. I think we're gonna see a little bit of a pop here. Yeah, you see how the buyers are starting to chew through those orders. You see how the Geiger counter is hard over. It's staying more to the upside than to the downside for the moment. I would think a retest of the high around 46.30 is probable. Come on. So a big tug of war bar here, and if we can see this bar finish to the upside, we will hit our break-even trigger, and you know what? I think I'm going to take it. All right, so we got the break-even trigger. Doesn't really matter now. We're kind of playing on their dime. There we go. So here comes that retest of the high. And if I were smart, I'd roll it here to the 4630 line and take that. But as my wife will tell you, so we'll see. The top of this bar, 4630. Ooh, Jim did some serious work here. He says he was long since before the open at the purple support at 54 average, and he says I'm out at the hard edge for +1. That that took some serious work. You can see here, trade forecasters still saying we're in trend mode for the next hour and a half. Now remember, trend mode does not necessarily mean that the market is just going to make a smooth progression higher or lower. Rather, it says that the pullbacks are likely to be minimized and the directionality, well, sustained to a point. So we had a little bit of a trend down here. Now we're reversing on the trend, heading a little bit higher. It's not to say this is going to go to the moon, although I do think 4630 is not out of the question. Come on, get up there. No, they're going to flinch here a little bit early, and that kind of sums up the day, doesn't it? So they're going to very likely tap me here at break even. And no real follow through. We did get a scalp signal here. It would have hit our scalp target. We did get a soft edge buy here on the Raptor. Very difficult to take that one though. We did get a little itty bitty test at the extreme here, and very often on those soft edge buy and sell signals, that's all you're going to get. It's just a little hiccup. But even so, that would have been difficult to get a hold of. And I do believe that they just tagged me at break even. Yes, they did, or a little better than break even. Well, it was worth a try, but we've taken a lot of break-even trades today. The only one making out today is the broker. Well, that's not entirely true. We did have a couple good signals here on the Raptor. But now they're all kind of falling asleep. So here's the YM, and just taking a look here. So Jim was long at the open, probably trying to take advantage of this, the width of this cloud, trying to buy, and then he finally had a chance to buy back at break even somewhere around here. So he bought off of the support, anticipating a move higher. It hasn't come yet. That's very well played, Jim. Like Tony says, Jim, you've got the patience of Job. Yeah, just such an obvious sideways range here this morning. The mini Dow showing it perhaps better than most. Until we get outside that zone, break even is not bad. All right, you guys, we might button up the room a few minutes early here. It doesn't look like the market's going to do a whole lot. Like I said, we're stuck in that trading range. Until we get outside of that range, we're not going to have too much to do. So we're going to call it a day, and I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye for now.